What if the person living right next door was watching you every single night without you ever knowing? We like to believe neighbors are harmless, maybe even friendly. But some of them are not just unfriendly, they are dangerous. These are three true terrifying stories of neighbors who turned out to be far worse than anyone could imagine. After hearing them, you may never look at the house next door the same way again. I had just turned 15 when my family moved into a quiet neighborhood. The kind of street where you could hear kids laughing, dogs barking, and the occasional car passing by. Everything seemed normal, almost too normal. Across the street lived an older man. He never came out, never waved, never smiled. He just kept his curtains drawn tight, like he was hiding from the world. Something about that house always made me uneasy, but I never said anything. My bedroom window faced his house. At night, the street lamp cast a soft orange glow across the road, and I liked that view. It helped me fall asleep. But then one night, I woke up to a sound. Not the wind, not the branches. Something deliberate. Something that made my skin crawl. Slowly I turned toward the window across the street, and there it was. A face. Pale, expressionless, pressed flat against the glass of the attic window. My first thought was that I must be dreaming, but the eyes were locked on mine, hollow, unblinking, cold. They felt like they were not just looking at me, but into me. I froze, every muscle locked tight. My heart hammered against my ribs. Then, almost imperceptibly, the corner of his mouth twitched. A slow, unnatural smile spread across his face. That's when the most terrifying thought struck me. He knew I was watching him. And worse, he had been waiting for me to notice. The next morning I told my dad about the attic window. He just shrugged. That's just the attic. No floor up there. No way anyone could stand there. My stomach sank. If there was no floor, then what had I seen? Things escalated quickly after that. My blinds, always closed the same way, began appearing slightly open in the mornings, as if someone had tested them. At night, faint whispers filled my room, too soft to understand but close enough to feel. My parents thought I was imagining things, so I begged them to install a security camera facing the street. That first night, nothing happened. But on the second night, the camera recorded movement. At exactly 3:12 a.m., the attic window across the street lit up faintly, like a candle flickering inside. And for just a moment there was a figure, pale, motionless, watching. When we checked the recording the next day, my parents were shaken. My dad called the police, but when officers searched the house, they found nothing. The attic was completely empty, just beams and insulation. No floorboards, no candles, no footprints. I should have felt relief. But the nights that followed proved it was not over. One night I sat by my window with a flashlight in hand, determined to see it again. The neighborhood was silent, too silent. And then it appeared. The face, pale, silent, smiling. Only this time, it leaned closer, pressing against the glass as though it wanted to push through. My chest locked with fear. And then I heard it clear this time. A whisper that cut through the silence like ice. I have been waiting. I bolted from the room, my flashlight clattering against the floor as I sprinted to my parents. We pulled up the camera feed again, desperate for proof. But the attic window showed only darkness. Nothing. The police came one final time, but they said the recording wasn't enough, just light reflections and imagination. We moved out 2 months later. The cameras caught nothing else, but I'll never forget the last night in that house. As we loaded boxes into the car, I glanced back one final time. The attic window was dark, empty, but I swear I could still feel it. Watching. We like to believe our homes are safe, that our neighbors are harmless. But sometimes the most terrifying things are not in dark alleys or haunted woods. Sometimes they are staring right back at you from across the street. We thought our first house would be a dream. Quiet street, white fences, friendly neighbors. But the moment we stepped inside, something didn't feel right. Mr. Howard lived next door, late 50s, thin, glasses that hid his eyes. His smile was too perfect, too calculating. He handed us a basket of muffins. "If you ever need anything, my door's always open," he said. The words sounded kind. The feeling? Wrong. The basement door was the first warning. Locked every time. Yet mornings came, and it stood wide open. At first I blamed my wife. She blamed me. The third time, I knew it wasn't us. I had locked it myself. We replaced the lock, installed a motion sensor camera. Nothing stopped it. Then, one night at exactly 3 a.m., my phone pinged. Basement door wide open. Shadow moving across the floor. I grabbed a bat, heart hammering, and crept downstairs. Mud-stained footprints. Fresh, leading to a small wooden door half hidden behind a shelf. The smell hit me first, damp, earthy, rotting fabric. Inside, blankets, food wrappers, bottles of water. Someone had been living there, watching us. Then came the whisper. Faint, but clear. "You should not be here." I bolted, dragged my wife, out into the cold night. Police searched the house. The crawl space was empty, but they found a tunnel freshly dug leading straight to Mr. Howard's property. He smiled when questioned. "Old houses have secrets," he said. "Nothing to arrest him, nothing we could do." The next morning, as we packed to leave, we found it. A muffin, warm, on the kitchen counter, and beside it, my wallet. Opened, ID gone. A note in his handwriting. "See you soon." Even miles away, I can still feel his eyes. Watching, waiting. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you and then realized you were right? I was babysitting 2 kids in a quiet suburban neighborhood. On the surface, it was the easiest job ever. But there was one thing about that house I hated: the massive living room window facing the street. At night, with the blinds half open, I always felt exposed. That night, the kids were asleep, and I was scrolling on my phone when I heard a faint crunch of footsteps outside. My stomach tightened. I looked toward the window and froze. A man was standing across the street, perfectly still, his head tilted upward, his body facing the house. My hand shook as I yanked the blind shut. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, but curiosity got the better of me. Minutes later, I peeked again. He hadn't moved. Same spot, same posture, same cold eyes locked on the window. When the cruiser pulled up, he finally turned slowly, deliberately, and walked back toward his house. The officer spoke with him, then came to me. "He says he lives across the street," the cop explained. "Just out for some air. Didn't mean to scare you. Nothing we can do."